More on the whole Michael Jackson situation. This is Rich Hykins, and Rich is from the Michael Jackson website, MJSTAR.com. What happens on MJSTAR.com, and what was the reaction when the verdict came in at 9 o'clock last night?
We're a central place for all the fans to go and speak about what's on their mind, and have been for over 10 years. So it's Michael Jackson through and through. Anything Michael Jackson goes on
What
the
is
site.
on their mind at the moment, Rich?
I think it's the verdict that they knew they were going to get. It's what the people wanted. You know, he was professionally negligent and he got what he deserved, and I think that's the fans' view, really. I think really our fans and most fans are still looking forward to the new album that's coming out and what's around the corner for Michael Jackson. I think this is just one part of a very small story that you know is been going along, and it's a section that can now be closed, I think.
So it's almost as if it's all's well that ends well. Here's what I want to ask you. Is the feeling very much, we've got our man, Michael, he made Michael what he was, that this guy who we heard during the trial with the slurred speech and this dependency on drugs, and if it hadn't have been for Conrad Murray, well, Michael just wouldn't have been like this. Is that a sort of denial that you're getting, or?
Yeah, I think there's mixed views on that. I think some people are saying, yes, if it wasn't Conrad Murray, it would be someone else and the situation would be the same outcome. But then there's other people that's saying that Conrad Murray maybe pushed him that little bit further over the edge and gave him the opportunity to get hold of different drugs. I mean, I was chatting to someone earlier and we said, before this trial, did any of us know what propofol was? Unless you were, you were a medical guy, and I'm sure that was the case for Michael Jackson. You know, did he know what propofol was? Someone introduced him to propofol, and they've got to be held accountable, I think, in some fans' minds.
And it became even more wrong, the fact that we heard during the trial that it just was not used outside hospitals.
Absolutely. I mean, and I think the main crux of their defence was that there's a trial now going on to help treat insomnia, but that was, of course, after Michael Jackson's death. So until that point, you're completely right, there was no use of it.
What have you learned as a fan about this man who you admire and who you idolise? Did you find out things that you didn't want to find out?
Of course. I mean, when you delve into someone's life on that I mean, just the picture of his bedroom. I mean, it looked like a homemade hospital or even a private hospital. I mean, just unbelievable that he was living like that, and it's upsetting, and I think the fans were upset by it.
But you were also looking forward to the big tour and the O2 residency that was going to go on. When you think about it now, would he have been capable of conducting 50 gigs at that venue?
Eamon, I think when you look at some of the images, no. I mean, and you listen to that slurred speech, but then we've all been in those situations, because then you look at the video of that day before and he was so on form, and the doctor said he was a fit, healthy guy, and so I think he probably would have done it. He would have made it happen. What
I find amazing about this guy, and I suppose it's like Elvis or anybody like that who is just genius. I mean, I've got a 9-year-old son who wasn't particularly aware of Michael Jackson, but he knows the music now, he knows the dance moves, he wants to see material. There is that appetite continually. And I mean, I suppose as fans, you still want new material, you still want something released for Christmas, you still want another musical production.
Of course, because that's what Michael Jackson is. We've been given a glimmer of what his personal life was, but you can't take from the fact he was an absolute entertainer.
And I presume you saw him live.
Yeah, of course.
And for those who haven't, what will they miss?
I mean, the telly, when you see it on the telly, is just a tenth of what it's like when you're there. The feeling, the atmosphere that he created, his energy. I mean, you say, would he have coped with 50 gigs? I think he would have coped with 500 when you see him on stage. He was so energetic. So he was such a, he was for the people, and he was such an entertainer.
Well, let's go to the people. Assembled to your left here, 3 ordinary members of the public.
Hello.
Who've just come into the studio. Any of you ever see him in concert, in action?
No.
And I think that's a big regret. I think I meant to and didn't, and he was on my list there. But are any of you fans?
Not really.
No. I wasn't. I loved it when he was young, though. I loved the Jackson 5.
Yes.
I loved that cartoon and all the music that was around then. And when you hear it, when you're at a nightclub or a wedding or something, you just immediately want to dance to it. It kind of makes you want to dance.
Yes, no doubt it was, hugely influential, and I grew up with his music all around me, so it's something that is just kind of
doesn't that make him what he is? Because isn't it that you don't know that you like him, but you do like him. You
yeah.
do know all the words when the record comes on at the weddings or wherever you are, and you hear it. That's when you get up and you do know the words, and you can relate to him. And I think that's what
These
made
three
him so
very ladies
powerful.
performed in concert at the O2, unlike Michael Jackson last week. But they didn't know the words, believe me. Or I don't know whose words they were singing, but it was
It was la la
it was a
la
whole
la.
other story. Rich, thank you very much indeed, and I'm sure that gets a lot more debate on your forum, which is the website MJSTAR.com. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.